Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more slug testing. And today, we've got a setup that a lot of you guys have really been wanting to see for a long time now on the channel. And it's been a while since we've done any slugs, and we haven't done any slug testing through a setup quite like this so far. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what it can do and picking up a bunch of variety of slugs that we can run through it, because it definitely should give us some pretty interesting results. But as for the setup I brought out here today, I recently set up a smoothbore slug gun, which is not something that we've had on the channel thus far. This is your classic Remington 870. This one's got a 24-inch Carlson's barrel on it, but it is your standard smoothbore, no special overbore or anything like that to it. Up on top here is a Hawk Vantage IR with the slug gun slash muzzleloader straight wall reticle in it and stuff. A little bit more eye relief, and so far I've really been enjoying it when I've been testing it and getting it zeroed in for y'all. But now we've got a smoothbore slug gun to try out with some classic rifled slugs and stuff like that. Now the big thing we're going to watch is that this is a scope that's mounted to the receiver, and on an 870 platform, the only thing that is holding your barrel tension to that receiver is your magazine cap. I'm not worried about the rings or anything, although I do have them marked here so that way I can see if anything comes loose. But as far as the tension of the barrel to the receiver, I don't have it pinned or anything, but I did take this magazine cap to hand tight and then a soft jaw pair of pliers to give it 3 extra clicks past hand tight, and I drew witness marks on it too. So we're going to be able to see if anything moves on this. So far, 20-ish rounds of testing, it's been perfect, but that is a potential downfall in accuracy consistency from a smoothbore slug setup that's got a receiver mounted scope. But we'll see what it can do over the course of numerous tests and if it's any decent or not. Should be pretty okay, but we'll see. And as far as the choke we're going to run, we've got a standard flush improved cylinder in here. That's what a lot of rifled slugs suggest, so that's what we're going with. But as for the slugs we're going to run through it today, we got to start somewhere that's pretty classic. Some Winchester Super X 2 3/4 inch 1 ounce rifled slugs at 1600 feet per second. These are one of the most popular basic rifled slugs out there. You got these, the Federals and the Remingtons. So I figured this should be a very good starting point for us from this setup today, since this is the first test we've done with it, and we'll see what we can get. But as for today's test, we're going to run it the same as we usually do with these slug tests. We're going to shoot 2 groups, one at 50 yards and another at 100 yards. Both are going to be 3 shots each. It's not necessarily ideal. I would love to shoot a bunch of groups, but I have to work with the ammo that I have available to me. So 2 groups, 50 and 100 yards, and all of which will be through the chronograph as well. Not perfect, but it'll give us an idea of if this is a decent combo at all. So enough talking, let's get you guys set up with a view of those targets and see what we can get from the first smoothbore slug test that we've done here on the channel. Should be pretty interesting results, but I don't quite know how precisely accurate it's going to be yet. So let's take our shots and see what we're able to get. Alright, so let's take a quick peek through our velocities real quick before we go look at our target. The boss claim was 1600, but we have a 24-inch barrel, so that might be a touch shorter than what they probably tested it through at the factory. So we didn't quite see that 1600 claim, but we were in the same ballpark, I would say. But for a high, we had 1581. For a low, we had 1530. For an average, that gave us 1556 with an extreme spread of 51. And a standard deviation of 17. So 1556 average, that's 44 feet per second below the boss claim. Definitely pretty close, but not quite. Probably a 26-inch test barrel, I would imagine, just judging by that. And of course, here's your energy numbers for a 1 ounce rifled slug at 1556. So that way you can see what we're pushing. That's plenty enough for a deer gun all day long. But let's go look at our target and see what kind of accuracy we got. Alright, so here is our target, and we definitely saw some pretty interesting results here. We'll start over there on the left with our 50-yard target, which really kind of shows why doing a test like this isn't always the perfect solution, because I would have loved to take several more groups and see what we could get. But we ended up having 2 in the same hole up here and 1 flyer a little bit low. I felt good about every single trigger pull today, so I truly don't believe that was me. It could have just been a flyer or a fluke or something. I really don't know, but we'll measure it and see what it gave us. So at 50 yards, we had 2.88 inches. And of course, it would be much less if we tucked another third one right up with those other 2 up there at the top. A little bit unfortunate, but kind of is what it is. I would imagine that it's going to be that 2.8 or better at 50 yards. I would bet if we took several more shots, we would tuck them all right up in there pretty nice and neat. But now we'll move over to the right target, which was at 100 yards. And our first 2 shots, when we were getting this right here, I was hoping to put one right in between them, but that's not quite what we saw. We saw another little straggler fly up here towards the top. It's still not a horrible group, but it's a little bit more open than what I ideally was looking for. But we'll measure it and see what the actual number is. And that 100-yard group is 4.77 inches. So, I mean, mathematically, that much opening in the group kind of makes sense from 50 to 100. So that flyer on the 50-yard target might not be too much out there necessarily. Either way, a 4 3/4 roughly inch group at 100 yards, it is still more than good enough for a deer gun all day long. But I definitely think we can squeeze a little bit more out of it. Now, is that down to the choke? Maybe we go up to a modified choke or something? Potentially. I do have a few different rifle choke tubes as well that I really want to test. So maybe that might be the ticket here. I don't know. We're just going to have to do some more testing and see. Either way, for the first test that I've done with this particular smoothbore slug gun that I put together, this isn't a horrible starting point. It is a deer killer just the way that it is. And I know there's a lot of slug guns out there that shoot 4 and 5 inch groups, and they've taken hundreds of deer. So this is more than capable, but I think I want to try and squeeze a little bit better out of it too. And that might just be a different slug and or choke combination. But I would say for a start, it's pretty middle of the road, and at least now we can work from here based on what we see. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about those results right there? Like I just mentioned, I think it's pretty much right down the middle. It's not horrible, but I think we can definitely squeeze a little bit better out of it. For me, personally, anything under the 3-inch mark is really where I want to be at with a slug gun, and this isn't too far off necessarily. So I definitely think we have a little bit more wiggle room to fine-tune things. A little bit different slug, a little bit different choke, rifle choke, mod choke, whatever the case might be. I think we can squeeze a little bit better out of them. But really not too horrible. That's a deer slayer just the way it is if I ever wanted to use that combination. And so far, yet again, that scope, those rings, that base, setting up my magazine cap with that tension, all of it is perfect, dead on the money still. So I'm going to keep you guys updated as we continue to test this if I have any problems with that particular setup combo, because I know a lot of people are really on the fence or finicky when it comes to smoothbore slug guns that are set up like that without a cantilever barrel. So we'll see how it continues to perform. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is it about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Do you have a smoothbore slug gun set up like that and have tried any of these Super X 1-ounce slugs? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is that a combination or an accuracy result that you would actually take out on a hunt? Or would you want to see it a little bit more fine-tuned than that? And what other shells or chokes do you want to see us test when it comes to slugs like this? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.